So we are very excited to see you, and thank you, ladies, for joining us. And for our Inspire, a women's mentoring group. And we are a free mentoring group that help encourage, educate, and inspire all women to reach higher and higher to ultimately achieve their goals. And I will tell you today, we have, besides Laura, she is always my number one cheerleader. I'm her cheerleader.
That's right.
Exactly. And Laura and I have been together since the very beginning when we created High Hills and High Places, which turned into Inspire, a women's mentoring group. And it's so exciting to see so many of the people out there today. I see lots of names that I see every single time, and one or two that have been on since the very beginning, and we do appreciate that. And I will say, Laura, do you have something you'd like to say to the girls before I introduce Valerie?
No, listen, how special is it that we are together on Valentine's Day? So all I want to do is wish everyone much love in your heart, much love in your families, and blessings all around. So that's all I want to say.
Well, thank you so much. That's enough. I mean, it's lovely. And it is happy Valentine's. And I hope all of you got some very special Valentines from your loved ones today. And today, since we only have 30 minutes, and that's what we do, is we try to make everyone's time, and very important, and we try not to run over 12:30. And today I have a very special person to introduce, and this is somebody that is so amazing. I could go on for hours, but we don't have that kind of time. So Valerie Saunders, I have known since 2006. It was the year after Katrina hit, and that was the last year that NAM had a conference in New Orleans. And so I joined the committee with Valerie down in Florida. She was, I think, chairing the convention committee that year. And I've known her ever since. And like I said, she was just so wonderful. I'd never seen anybody that could multitask and on the highest level. I promise you, it was like just amazing. And I will tell you, she is from Jacksonville. She is the president of a title clearinghouse of Jacksonville title company. And she's the vice president of RE Financial Services, which is a mortgage company. And she's also president-elect of NAM. Right now, she will be our president come September, the 1st of October, and this year. And so excited to have followed the career, because actually, I started a few months with NAM before she did, but she has been with me. I've been with her all these years, and we've become very good friends. And I couldn't think of someone on our panel asked us to do something in assertiveness in leadership. And I mentioned that to Valerie, and she said, well, that's what I studied in college. So, she's not, like I said, she's always coming up with so many things that I didn't know that she could do. So I will turn it over to Valerie, and Valerie, take it away.
Great. Thank you so much, Linda. I really appreciate it. I am going to share my screen because I live and die by my PowerPoints. So, I am going to start this. Okay. So thank you very much, Linda. Thank you, Laura, for asking me to participate. I greatly appreciate it. I definitely value the relationships that I have within the industry, most of all, the women that I know within the industry, which I'm lucky enough to know a lot of women all across the country. And, every single person that I meet along the way definitely adds value to my life. So I greatly appreciate it. So I was asked to discuss assertiveness and leadership. And, I think one of the things that women find well, first of all, I want to say this. I don't think there has ever been a man that has been asked to talk about assertiveness in leadership. So I think, first of all, that is something that we need to get beyond and get past, that leadership is for everyone. They're for people. not men or women. So I want to first preface that. But for those, Linda had mentioned college, I actually have a master's in history. And so I'm going to, before starting with this, I'm going to lead into some historical references to throw it out there, that women have been striving for assertiveness or in a leadership role since the beginning of time. We've come a long way. We have a long way to go. But as time progresses, things get better. More women speak up. More women are in a leadership role, and all of those things just collectively help us as we move forward. So, as far as being assertive in business, it's kind of discouraged for women because, they look at us as not necessarily a business person sometimes. Not to say being a mother and a housewife is a negative. I am a mother. I obviously have a house, so I'm a housewife. But when we assert ourselves, or we speak up for ourselves, or we're in sometimes in a leadership role, we kind of get called bossy or feminist. And, it's unfortunate because women in business isn't a bad thing. If you look at any references, you'll see that women really are a vital piece to the whole leadership puzzle. And so we're really, women really make a success of themselves by being assertive and also having good communication with whoever we're working with. If we don't take that step to move forward, if we don't show our assertiveness, or what I call self-confidence, we're always going to be sort of in the background, and women should be in the foreground, in my personal opinion. So I thought I would just give a little bit of milestones as far as women go. Like I said, I have a master's in history, and so I wanted to kind of just recognize some different things that have happened. So if we go all the way back to 1776, Abigail Adams, the wife of President John Adams, started making a plea to her husband, start paying particular care and attention to women. Don't hold ourselves bound by laws which we have no voice or representation. So it's important for women to have a voice, to speak up, to represent themselves, whether it's in their business, in their family. You choose a volunteer role like I have, whatever avenue, it's important to speak up. 1848, we had Elizabeth Cady Stanton, who started or chaired the first Women's Right Convention. They had 300 attendees. It was organized by women, including Elizabeth Cady Stanton. 1869, Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton went on to found the National Women's Suffrage Association and coordinated that suffrage movement. 1890, state of Wyoming was the very first state to allow women the right to vote. So it really hasn't been that long. You're talking 130 years for women to be able to vote in a state, not recognized by the whole United States at that point. But in 1920, we had the 19th Amendment. So only 100 years for women to be able to vote. 1963, we had President John F. Kennedy pass the Equal Pay Act. So now you're talking only 60 years ago did we have legislation that passed prohibiting sex-based wage discrimination between men and women performing the same job. 64, we had President Lyndon Johnson pass the Civil Rights Act with Title VII, banning employment discrimination based off of race, religion, national origin, or sex. 1972, we had Title IX, where the U.S. shall, on the basis of sex, no person shall be excluded from participation in or denied the benefits or be subjected to discrimination under the education programs or activities. 2013, only 10 years ago, did they remove the ban for women to be able to serve in combat positions in the U.S. military. And then, of course, only 2 years ago, 2021, we had the first woman vice president, Kamala Harris. So we've come a long way. We still have a long way to go, but women's history and our advancement in assertiveness and leadership is really kind of in its infancy. So we need to look at ourselves as sort of front runners in advancing that movement forward. I always bring this up just because I think it's an interesting fact and it kind of that people may not be aware of. But the term rule of thumb, where does that come from? So back in the day, didn't have rulers, so they used the tip of the thumb as a unit of measurement. And so it was commonly heard alternate meaning that the rule of thumb, and this is from an 18th century English judge, supposedly that a man was legally permitted to beat his wife, permitted he used a stick no thicker than his thumb. This is a cartoon that was published back in the 1700s of, you can see a man chasing his wife and good old Sir Francis Bueller with his stick. So we've come a long way. So when I started working on this presentation, I kind of just Googled in the dictionary, what is assertiveness? And I cut this out because the very first thing that came up was she has difficulty standing up for herself, even when assertiveness may be warranted. And I thought that that was interesting because, first of all, I used the word she, that of all of the things in the entire universe that the Oxford Dictionary could use as an example for the word assertiveness was a woman not standing up for herself. So, you know, I think that I picked a couple of these memes. I'm big on looking for sort of women's empowerment in memes. I have a LinkedIn group called SWIM, which is Support Women in Mortgage, and I'll post a lot of sort of women's empowerment kind of things or articles. And so these are kind of three of one of my favorite memes. Strong women don't have attitudes, they have standards. A strong woman is one who can build a firm foundation with the bricks others have thrown at her. Dear strong woman, you're not intimidating, they are intimidated. There is a difference. I think sometimes people, like I said, use the word assertiveness when it's really self-confidence. If you don't back down or you don't speak up for yourself, then that is appearing as if you're intimidated, or that we're taught to have or felt to have take a back seat, and that's really just not necessary. We all should be able to stand up for ourselves and what we believe in, and whether that is in a trade association, in our business, in our family, whatever the case may be. Speaking up is a good thing. So I thought I would bring up some gender stereotypes. You may have heard men are from Mars, women are from Venus. This one is men are from Mars and women are controlling. Just because you're assertive does not necessarily mean you're controlling, but there's typically gender stereotypes of men are dominant, competitive, assertive, and women are supposed to be submissive and warm and nurturing. Traits and characteristics that we typically associate with effective leadership typically are more viewed as more masculine attributes: assertiveness, ambition, competition, and they really discount stereotypical feminine traits: collaboration, homemaker. To me, women usually aren't sort of fighting their way to the top with each other. We're usually dragging each other up all together. And I think that is one of the benefits of, number one, being a woman in a leadership role. I don't look at women as competition. I look at us all as a collective group. And so what is good for one is good for everyone. And if assertiveness and ambition and competition are masculine, so be it. I'm assertive, I'm ambitious, and I love competition. It's just the way it is. So this is some gender backlash. So these are just some studies. In a 2008 study, in psychological science, men received a boost in their perceived status after expressing anger, but women, the situation was reversed. We were considered less competent. A comprehensive study concluded that 75% of performance reviews, women were labeled as pushy or stubborn or asked to watch their tone. A white paper revealed that women in the workplace are called bossy far more often than their male counterparts, even though we're exhibiting similar behavior in similar circumstances. And many women echo similar personal experiences. Anger expressed by men is perceived as justifiable or righteous. And that same emotion, we're volatile, we're unhinged. And, so unfortunately, there is a disconnect there between men and women in relation to expressing your feelings or opinions or wanting your advancement or being a leader. And sometimes the way that you have to do it can be perceived as negative. Women are placed in a tenuous position. So if you want to emerge as a leader, women have to adopt traits that are consistent with leadership stereotypes, which may be masculine. They have to be more assertive. They have to breach those stereotypes. But of course, when you're doing that, sometimes you're going to suffer a likability penalty. You can't make everybody happy. Of course, the first person to make happy is yourself. And you hope if you make yourself happy that you're going to make a lot of other people happy as well. But there is a likability penalty sometimes for being assertive. It's unfortunate, if there was a man who was very self-confident, very pro themselves, that would be such a thing of placing them on a pedestal, where as a woman, she thinks too much of herself. So, it's unfortunate. Women need to work harder to be assessed at the same level of competence as a man. Asking for a promotion, offering unsolicited opinions, challenging status quo, negotiating for a raise, speaking up about concerns, all can help a male employee get ahead, but a female, once again, labeled as bossy for the same exact behavior. Okay, so now what? So assertiveness should include two different things. Number one is authenticity. If you don't take an opportunity, somebody else is going to do it. So start a discussion with the end in mind and talk with other people. I think that's one of the great things about women is we share ideas. We're not necessarily overly competitive with each other. So like I said, I feel pulling everybody up together, not just one person at a time. And then of course, win-win. Both yourself and the other person has to be involved in understanding your feelings. Giving friendly advice, embracing feedback, all of those things are great in assertiveness. So change your habits for win-win. Number one, if a relationship isn't working, unfortunately, sometimes you got to end it. It's okay to move on to a new position or department or job, because you should never go home at night being miserable. Change negative self-talk. I unfortunately do this a lot. I am just sort of a pessimist to myself, an optimist maybe to other people, but I have to train myself to turn off negative talk. I'm definitely very hard on myself, and I have to figure out a way to get over that, even if it's uncomfortable. That's just sometimes how it is. Find a role model. They can be a different level of experience. You can be amazed what you can learn from each other. Find somebody that you feel is a mentor. Find somebody that you feel that you can connect with. A role model can be somebody that has more experience than you, or they can be on the same identical level. It's whoever you feel that you view as what you would like to be or what you envision yourself to be at some point in the future. Resolve conflicts. Demonstrate the power to be the one to do this. I personally hate conflict. If there is somebody that, if something happens, chances are I'm going to probably try to squash it as fast as possible because I just don't like the festering part. To me, conflict is just kind of a waste of time when we can just work it out. And if we can't work it out, well, then I'm going to go back to number one. And if it's just not working, I'm going to have to move on because I can't keep going back to the well if I always come back dry. And then, of course, speak up. Somebody has to, and it might as well be you. Also, express your feelings. One of the big things that I feel is the difference between men and women is expressing your feelings. A woman typically does not have a problem in expressing their feelings about something. It's about respect. And if you're feeling upset or bothered by something that somebody does, just rip the Band-Aid off and do it, because chances are they may be feeling the same identical way, or they may appreciate or respect the fact that you came to them and said something. Also, quit apologizing. I do this a lot. Oh, I'm so sorry this happened. Stop saying I'm sorry. I have to remind myself this constantly. You don't need to be sorry for everything. Not everything deserves an I'm sorry. It's okay to own your own mistakes. It's a sign of character. People are going to take you more seriously, but you don't have to apologize before and after you make your point. Just make your point. Also, talk for yourself. Don't expect others to speak for you. If you're going to sit there and expect somebody to defend your position or to tell somebody that what they think about you or what you may have done they don't like, and you're expecting them to defend you, chances are you're going to be disappointed. Talk for yourself. And also welcome and be respectful of feedback. Constructive criticism is what I'll call feedback in this instance, is probably one of the best things that you can have, because if you don't have the opportunity to get feedback, there's no real way to move forward. So it's really a gift that somebody is giving you. And so you need to receive it in a positive manner. Now, of course, there is just straight up criticism, which is not feedback, and it's not constructive, and it's definitely not a gift. And then you may have to go back to number one, which is, hey, this is just not working. I'm going to have to move on for both of us, because I have to protect my own mental psyche. And in this situation, it may just be best for me to say, hey, it was nice knowing you. I'll see you later. And I'm going to finish this with a few, like I said, I love my memes, a few different memes. So this one is a quote from Jane Goodall. It actually doesn't take much to be considered a difficult woman. That's why there's so many of us. And then the next one is bossy. I prefer assertive, direct, self-assured, confident, driven, a clear communicator, passionate, and engaged. This is another quote. I want every little girl who's told she's bossy to be told instead she has leadership skills. And this one, I think this is the last one. To the women who are labeled aggressive, keep being assertive, bossy, keep on leading, difficult, keep telling the truth, too much, keep taking up space, awkward, keep asking hard questions, don't shrink yourself to make people happy, be yourself, you're beautiful that way. So I hope that you found some value in this. This is my email address, my cell phone number, which half the free world has anyway. So please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to have conversations. I have a few people that consider me a mentor, which I greatly appreciate and am humbled by. So if you're looking for a lifeline, somebody to talk to, somebody that has been or probably still is considered bossy, I'm happy to talk to you. that's it. I don't know
Thank
if
you so
anybody has
much.
any questions.
Hey, yeah, that's what I was fixing to say. Has anybody got any questions for Valerie? I saw a few things in the chat box, but I don't know if there was any questions there. Somebody can't turn the camera on. We understand that. But hey, I do want y'all to know Valerie is a very strong woman. I can tell you, I've been working with her for years and I know she is. And I've always looked up to her because, like I said, she amazes me always with all of her skills. And I have heard just rip the Band-Aid off many times in our board meetings. It's like, well, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Come on, and we have to, because you got to get to the point. And that is what it is. And it is so exciting to have had Valerie speak to us today. And I mean, I know you girls out there can really connect to a lot of things. I was looking at the people that are on right now, and some of them I know personally, and some of them I know got a lot out of this today, just like I did. So we are having NAM is having next big event where we will be having will be our Ledge conference. And I know there's a lot of people that's concerned with, what's going on in our industry right now. So it's going to be April the 14th through the 18th. So if you go to nam.org, you can find that. And I will go ahead and let Laura, we've got 2 minutes. Laura, you want to have the last thought?
Well, Valerie, thank you very, very much. That was wonderful. We truly appreciate it. And I think all of us, when we sit back and realize, as you had those dates up there, when we think of our moms, we think of our grandparents, grandmothers, or our great-grandmothers, and realize where we've come. It is all of our responsibility to realize that right now in this moment in time, we are shaping our granddaughters and our daughters, our granddaughters, and our great-granddaughters' futures. All of that lies within us. So take some of those recommendations that Valerie said and her greatness of words that she shared. And remember, on this Valentine's Day, all of you are shaping the future.
And
thank you for joining us.
Exactly. And remember, Inspire is a women's mentoring group. So please reach out to us. And I'm just so excited. We had so many great ladies on today. And, ask a friend, because I guarantee you they'll get something out of it. We're still on our way to the top. So join us again, just 30 minutes a month. Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good one, everyone.
Happy Valentine's.